Green, ladies and gentlemen, how have you been? And I know that it's been some time since I even used a proper microphone because I was busy testing the DJI Action 6. So I got the camera on May 2nd, 2026, after which I have been seriously investing a lot of my time into that camera because this is a genre of cameras that was actually alien to me, I would say. Probably it's not the right word, but whatever. I never used an action camera properly for action stuff. I always used this action, I always thought that, action cameras were something that people used for underwater diving or for hiking or for biking or for cycling or for riding or action sports or just, all these activities that involved run and gun situations, not like filming run and gun situations, but like sports and other complicated activities. But the thing is, I'm taking a huge risk diverting from the topic for a moment. I'm not having my headphones right now because they're in the other room. There's some work going on in my house right now. I have a new cabinet behind me. So that's done, but there's still a lot more work to be done here. So yeah, my room is in a bad shape as well, so more on that later. But since I started using this action camera, I believe, I got the idea that these cameras have their own world. It's an altogether different flavor. It's a different taste of, I would say, a different medicine. So biking, moto vlogging, etc. was never really on my mind. It's not something that I really do. I mostly do these kinds of videos, like, looking into my lens and setting up proper lighting or doing other stuff, and speaking, or doing other stuff that is more cinematic or film-like, or I would say sometimes vlog style, but not really. I'm not a vlogger. I can podcast reasonably, and I can just shoot things that look good on camera, which I think look good. They don't really look good. I don't know. It's very weird, to just compliment yourself sometimes. That's so weird. But I'm not saying that I'm complimenting myself. I probably do terrible things. I'm still recording in S-Log 2 today for a change. It's not S-Log 3. I wanted to record on Cine Profile, but I'm not. I'm keeping this simple. And luckily today, I've got some B-roll footage of me driving the bike, using the DJI Action 6. But very quickly, I would like to sum up. I can make this into like a 1-hour episode, but I don't want to. The major points that I have to discuss about that camera are that, just like every other camera, for example, if I turn off the light on this camera right now, that's mounted like on top of the camera because this has got a hot shoe mount. So it's capable of mounting things on top of its head or whatever. What I was doing was, in the very beginning, I was testing that camera to its limits. Like I was testing the Action 6 in not just low light environments, I was testing it in approximately no light environments. And accordingly, I got pathetic results. But that's exactly what I wanted to see. How bad can it be? It can be pretty bad. That's for sure. But it's not the camera's fault. I suppose, like every time you shoot a video, like every time you set up a sequence, every time you set up a project, the fundamental of that is to have good lighting. So if the action camera gets great lighting, that camera has done such a good job that even you can use it as a studio camera. And let me tell you something. I'm not somebody who uses a lot of these applications, etc. Like I'm recording on the MV7i right now. And this comes with an application too. It's got an app. So on that app, you can do a lot of things the way you like or whatever. But I'm somebody who shoots manual, fully manual. I'll record fully raw. I don't bake in any kind of effects or whatever. I mean, this has probably just a limiter involved into it. But I don't know, I'm recording my audio separately on the iPad, and this has to be synced later in DaVinci Resolve or Premiere, depending on what software I choose to edit on today. Most probably it will be DaVinci Resolve. So, the Action 6 also gives you the option to shoot fully manual. But one thing that I've observed is about these cameras, especially action cameras, or I can't use the word pocket cameras because I don't really have one. But from what I hear, sometimes, these cameras actually work well in auto mode rather than being in full manual. For example, the other day I forgot my ND filters at home. I had to go to the temple, and I decided, because, that's the only place I actually go. I don't really have a lot of places to visit because I don't really have that much time. Today was Sunday. I just came back home late, 7:30. But I had to do this. I had to talk about this at length. So I'm doing it now. So sometimes, the auto mode really helps you. And one thing that we have to keep in mind is that these sensors are very small sensors. I mean, what does the Action 6 have? Like 1 on 1.1 inch sensor. So it's less than 1 inch sensor. Although the Pocket 3 had this 1 inch sensor. I think the Insta360 Luna Ultra is another gimbal camera that just came out, and people are really enjoying it. They really love everything about that camera. I mean, it's gonna be fine. But somehow I was never convinced about these small sensor cameras that they could do a good job. But I think it's time to say that I was wrong, and I happily admit it. These cameras can do great stuff, but they come with conditions. They come with terms and conditions, all right? And the first thing that you have to do, and this is not something that I just discovered out of, some cave. No, it's a basic thing, but I was right about it, so I'm reiterating it. Lighting is very important. And as people who do cinematography and, filmography and videography, or like cinematic stuff, they say that, lighting a scene, lighting actually identifies and sets the entire mood of any particular scene. So that is the case with the Action 6 as well. I've used that camera in pitch dark situations. I've used that camera in well-lit situations. I've used that camera in indoor situations. I've used that camera in action situations. I've used that camera on my bike. I've used that camera in my office. I've used that camera in my car. And I would say fantastic results. One thing more I would like to mention here, and that's a very honorable mention, I would say, and that is the fact that this DJI Mimo app that DJI has developed, I think they've done a great job, because not only can you grade your log footage in that app itself, they've also given you some kind of, those film simulations. Like, mostly I use the retro film simulations, which I like the color grading of. So they are very, very good. And if you're somebody who doesn't want to mess around with all the audio stuff or video stuff, and still you don't really have the idea on how to color grade, or you don't really have the idea how to set your DaVinci wide gamut or DaVinci intermediate or Rec 709 or Gamma 2.2, Gamma 2.4, all of that things, if you don't know how to do that, go into that app and just light your scene properly, and it'll still give you very, very usable results. So this is all about the Action 6. I don't even know if this video would require adding B-roll. Well, I will see if I could add a B-roll into this, but I don't know. I think B-roll has always been my favorite from the time when we used to see all those brilliant YouTube videos like from creators like Peter McKinnon, or they used to shoot B-rolls on those big Canon cameras, and Sony came in with its mirrorless cameras, and suddenly Sony was all the hype and all the rage. And now these pocket cameras and these action cameras are becoming the new normal, I would say, because you can't carry... For example, I'm recording right now on a Sony ZV-E10. The camera body is very light. It's marketed as a vlogging camera by Sony. Good job. Fantastic. But the lens I'm using right now, this is the Sigma 16 f1.4. This lens is a barrel. It's a tank. It's very heavy. And it's so heavy that it makes that camera body, I think the lens is probably approximately equal to or slightly more than the weight of the camera body itself. So if you want that, I suppose it's not easy for you to carry it in one hand and, just vlog like that. I mean, people do that all the time. Hats off to them. Again, I'm not a vlogger. But for specific scenes, if I want to shoot something cinematic or something, a sequence, I want to tell a story like I do with voiceovers, without voiceovers, with music, without music, with just poetry, without poetry, any kind of scenario, I'll choose a specific lens for that. That's what I have always done. That's what I have always preferred. But to venture out into something new that, you just take a camera out of your pocket and point it at something. I mean, obviously there were point and shoot cameras, but those used to be mostly for photos. Mostly, I think, yeah, they used to be for photos. But more on that later. I just don't want to make it irrelevant. So this is the era of these compact cameras. It's the era of action cameras having variable aperture and exactly why I bought the Action 6 was because, its marketing tagline said that, this is an action camera with variable aperture, going as low as f2.0, although there are certain restrictions to engage the f2.0. f2.0 can only be engaged when you're shooting in auto mode. So in manual mode, the aperture is still restricted to f2.6. However, if you hook up the macro lens for that camera. The camera also comes with a macro lens. That's an extra attachment for approximately 15,000 Indian rupees. I don't really see the point. I don't really see the point to spend that money on macro lens to just get a little bit of background separation. But when that lens is attached to the camera, yes, you can probably manually select f2 as well. That lens is manual. It's got modes. So there's one mountain mode where everything is in focus. There's one flower mode where only the macro thing could be done, and then there's a person mode which can be used for vlogging. And I am stunned by people who vlog with that camera, and I wanted to try that, so I did. The other day I went to the temple, and I mean, it's been approximately 4 to 5 weeks, and since I have this camera now, and every week I go to the temple twice a week. So I carried this camera at least once every week with me since I have this camera. It's that good. All you need is to have like one mount, that clamp mount for your bike or whatever ride you have, and the camera. It's got a magnetic mount. It's fantastic. The camera has also got a magnet at the bottom of it. So if you find a metallic surface, the camera sticks to that. Can you believe that? Those insane POVs are just now possible because of these cameras. And to my surprise, when I got the camera, after that I came to know that there's another product called, I don't know, there's this one, Osmo Nano. Yeah, I remember that. Osmo Nano. That thing is, that's even smaller. How are they doing this? But they're doing a good job with this. And Insta360 also has something called probably the 360 Go or something. But these things really make me happy because future needs to be more convenient. I mean, it should also instill the virtue of, being hardworking in people, but technology advancement should lead to a situation where you don't really have to sweat a lot. Like, for example, I have to set up this scene, I have to hold my microphone in my hand, and I have to monitor my levels and everything. That's fine because I'm in a controlled environment right now. I'm sweating, but it's still a controlled environment, and I know my camera is going to record that. Damn it, it's 14 minutes. God damn it, I can't even edit this video anymore. So, coming back to the point, yes, this is the future of technology, and I've been seeing all those Insta360 Luna reviews as well. Fantastic camera. And the Leica branding on that camera is really very lucrative. But I would give DJI the fair share of time to launch their product so I could compare and give my money to them. if I have it. Because these cameras are not cheap. These cameras range from $700, $750 to approximately $1,000. That's not... You get a TLM 103 for $1,000. I mean, I understand that cameras are great and they can do a great job, but there's still this trade-off that I'm still not convinced about, which is the fact that I could get a nice G Master lens from Sony and, put it on this camera and shoot my heart out with all the beautiful bokeh that I want or love in my videos. But then again, convenience versus actual cinematic feels with the bokeh and everything. These cameras, the small ones, also have bokeh. How good or how bad they are, I mean, I don't really judge anything entirely based on YouTube videos. If I have it in my hand, which probably one of them will be here soon. Which one, I don't know, but something will happen, obviously. So after that, I think I'll test that out as well extensively and let you guys know. For now, you just enjoy the Action 6 footage and this ranting that I did for approximately 15 plus minutes. I don't even know. Anyhow, have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow is Monday, and tomorrow is Monday. Good night. Or good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, depending on where you watch and when you watch. But have a great life. Take care.